Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Brunch Gimmick, back at a regular time of 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on Love Wrestling. We've been switching times a lot the last couple of weeks. One time was for Big Bad Boris, his 40-hour stream, which, again, to reiterate, we're really proud of him. The stream itself made just under $3,000. And yeah, we did it on Twitch there. Oh, thank you, Spencer. Spencer in the chat saying hello. Yeah, we're quite happy with how that turned out. I did an hour and a half on Twitch there. Well, technically, I only did half an hour. The Easter Bunny did the first hour. And then last week, I did the show at 8 a.m. because I was lucky enough to attend Mystery Wrestling. And we're going to talk about that. Also, last night was Survivor Series. A lot of mixed feelings about Survivor Series. I felt good and bad. That show was very, very modern day WWE. Like, if you're expecting, it's a very good example of what you're going to get watching WWE is what that ESPN or that Survivor Series match was. Like the whole pay-per-view. I wasn't on a whole, like it didn't do much for me, but I didn't outwardly hate everything, but we'll get into that. But also last week, I was lucky enough to be live for Mystery Wrestling. I just want to thank Nathan Yaramovich and his brother for constantly being my list down to Ottawa. And they were actually involved. Well, Nathan wasn't. Involved in the show, Zach Yaramovich. He is the photographer on the outside, which is, if you're ever on an independent show in Quebec or Ontario that they're on, it does get very confusing the first time you notice it. Like you think they're about to do some twin magic stuff, but no, just one's a very good photographer. But yeah, we drove down fairly early. So I was there pretty early, and I got to thank everyone at Mystery Wrestling for always being welcoming to me and never just being like, hey, leave. They're very nice. Let me hang out there before the show. And just like C4, because it's also a lot of the same people that run C4 that work at Mystery Wrestling. It's a very, communal, family environment type deal. Every time I get there, it really does feel like a family. There is I won't go too much into it, but there's a very funny what's called the shit list. When you walk in, there's how are you doing, Fernando? Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope everything's good with you. Where I'm just talking about the Mystery Wrestling show went last week, then we'll get into Survivor Series right afterwards. But yeah, there's what they call the shit list. So when you walk in on two whiteboards, there's the shit list and the matches for that show. And the only one I'll talk about, because the other stuff that doesn't, the one that popped me. And then when Psycho Mike showed up, Yeah, that's all the general feeling. I'm like, for me, you have to have your expectations up to be disappointed. It pretty much met my expectations, what I'm expecting for the show. But yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. Uh, so I'm there early. I'm looking at the board, and one of the things like in bold, circled on the shit list of things not to do is no body slams. And Psycho Mike, when Psycho Mike's there, he's like, really, because of me, like I'm gonna go around Canada being like, this guy used a body slam on Mr. Wrestling. He's never gonna work here again. I'm blackballing him. It's not happening. But yeah, they from like the very moment I got there, it was a um, very welcoming environment. Uh, I'll say this: like Evil Uno and the crew there run a great ship. Like uh, they're. It was funny is like the whole time. Uh, the whole time I was sitting there, like weirdly I ended up sitting like one of the front seats by accident for like the pre-show speech, and I was sitting next to Stu Grayson. And every so often, Evil Uno would look at me and try to figure out why the fuck I'm there. But like, he never said anything. Like, he was very nice, and I like shook hands with him when I walked in. But like, he's like, "Are you supposed to be doing something?" Like, sort of like he never said anything, but like, he sort of looking at me like, "Are you supposed to be doing something during the show?" But no, uh, from the very like being able to watch, like, even though I was there early and got to hear and see what some of the matches were, it's like I will say the one that went viral from this show, or that one, the most talked about one, was again Cecil Nix's match, or wasn't a technically the bell never rang. Cecil Nix's match, because all I heard in the pre-show thing was them quickly go over. It's like, so the bell doesn't ring. Yeah, there's no real winner. Like, when I was asking, I was like, "There's no winner." It's like, "No, there's no winner." Well, like technically I win, but the bell never rings. I'm like, that's all I knew about the match. I'm like, I knew the belt, the belt match. There is no winner, and the thing, and I had no idea what else happened in that match. What was the point of it? Like, what was going to happen? And I actually was talking to the other person in that match without knowing it. Very nice. Uh, for those who didn't know or didn't see, it was going to be Cecil Nix, and they surprised him by he was going to be wrestling a felon who on a 1-day leave to wrestle this one match. And I was talking to the felon before the show. Very nice. We're talking about Mick Foley and Vader. Turns out he was just there for tax evasion, which should have been the first sign of what was about to happen. Just as the police take off his handcuffs and he steps in the ring, he immediately books it and leaves. And then what was even better was Mr. Wrestling afterwards posted a community, one of the like Facebook community groups, and somebody posted in the community groups, "I just saw a dude in full prison getup run out of the community center. Should I be worried?" type thing. And like, oh man, wrestling is back, baby. This is what wrestling's about. They're actually working in the neighborhood by accident. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. You of course are the picture on the thing for Facebook is Sasquatch walking towards me right before his boxing match, where he went 3 rounds and ended up winning. But yeah, the I think like if you haven't seen a Mr. Wrestling show, I highly recommend you do. I think their next one is until January, where they will be in the UK. I think like 12th or 7th, somewhere around there. I think the second or third week of January there is their next show, and they're back. They're doing their first trip to the UK. Their first part of what is their world tour. But yeah, they're going to the UK, which I'm excited about. So everyone should probably watch that on YouTube and Twitch. but like Twitch is the more reliable one because I think they've had problems in the past with YouTube. But yeah, you can watch it on YouTube and Twitch live, and I highly recommend it because they put a lot of work in that show. Seeing how much fun that entire crew has with everything, like watching them build, like because I'm there at Nathan, so I was sitting near them, and I was watching them build the referees versus security match, which I honestly, it was so much fun. And Nathan, which you guys didn't see, was Nathan Yaramovich. For the entirety of the intermission, was just knocked out on a chair after the match, which stayed knocked out on the chair and did not move for the entirety of intermission, which I appreciate a commitment to a bit personally. But also, I was worried because he was my ride home. Yeah, all in all, really fun show. Actually, Spencer's in the chat. I did mention I met Tyler Breeze before the show, and I mentioned Love Wrestling. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know, I heard of you guys," and he used Michael Richard Blaze's old wrestling name, so it took me a second. And he was trying to remember his new one, his current name that he wrestles under, like Michael Richard Blaze. Like, yeah. It's like, yeah. So he knew, like, he used to wrestle him back in the day, and like we had a nice little talk about that. Yeah. And I also did put over our good friends Joel and Jeremy, because Joel and Jeremy did just recently interview Tyler Breeze, which also, after the show, check that out. That was a great interview on In the Weeds. Those guys do a great job every week. But yeah, so much fun. I highly recommend people, if you have the opportunity to either go to I think the UK show sold out, but if you're ever in the Gatineau, Ottawa region, for one of these shows, I highly recommend you go, because they're like, you never know what's going to happen. There's at least one like known star there, and there's always like the storytelling's great there. They really do have their own lore. Oh yeah, the Tyler Breeze just did a like full trip through like Canadian independence. I actually have, let me see, I put it up behind me. No, there's the glasses. A signed pack of Uno cards by Tyler Breeze. Also, the signed, feel them and duck my head, signed Tyler Breeze picture too, which also came with it. But yeah, because I told them how much that like the Uno era, up, down meant to be, especially during like the pandemic. That was like keeping a lot of people going. And yeah, that whole crew, how much, like I told him how much that movie. He's very nice. Tyler Breeze rules, and had a fun match with Psycho Mike, which was I think the second time while he was in Canada he wrestled Psycho Mike, and that was a very fun match. That was like, yeah, these two people should work each other all over the place. They did a great job there. I believe he defeated Psycho Mike, from what I remember. But yeah, fun match, fun time. But again, highly recommend, and stay tuned for more updates. You like follow them on their socials, because like they're people complain about shows starting late. Their show started at 5 p.m. most of the times, done by 7:30. He, like, in the pre-show meeting, Uno did say that like he does tell people to keep their matches to around 10 minutes. And there was one wrestler who went over 15 minutes 2 shows ago. And that wrestler will never work there again. And that wrestler's name is Evil Uno. Evil Uno has banned Evil Uno from ever working Mystery Wrestling again, for being the only one to go over 15 minutes. But yeah, all around, like, it's a quick show, goes by so fast, and it's very silly and very fun, and the thing I love about pro wrestling. But yeah, that was such a good time. Highly recommend everyone check it out. Also, yesterday was Survivor Series, the fourth in the Big Four pay-per-views. Although you can argue that Money in the Bank is sort of replacing it. Like, for years, like Survivor Series has been the odd man out in the other big four, mostly because it was a spite pay-per-view. People don't remember or realize that Survivor Series was only created to come like as a show specifically to pull people away from WCW show at the same time. Like it was solely built to spite WCW. And it just happened to stay around long enough to become one of the big four. And like enough has happened at that pay-per-view that it was sort of like gotten that big four stature. But it's definitely the fourth. And it definitely felt like it last night. Like we'll start with the first match. The women's the women's War Games match. I all around enjoyed it. It was a little sloppy, like not sloppy, just like some mistakes, which happens. Like everyone expects like these wrestlers to be perfect all the time. And like things happen in the ring. Sometimes the ropes slip. Like Io slipped trying to do an elbow. Like there's a little stuff that was a little weird throughout. There was like WWE posted the clip. I'm like, why would you post a clip that looks so bad? It's like, I think even Kevin Owens said, like, just don't insult the audience's intelligence. And they're like, Becky Lynch is in hell. And it's supposed to be Becky Lynch getting her face squeezed against the cage. But you see, like, her face is like a solid inch away from the cage. And, like, she's barely pushing down on her face. Like, it just does not look good from, like, that camera angle. It just looks bad. And sort of, like, it's again, insults the audience intelligence. Like, the audience will buy into anything as long as you don't make them look stupid. And I think that, like, especially that WWE put up that clip too. I'm like, that made everyone look bad. But other than that, it was a fun match. Like, AG Lee didn't do as much as people expected, but like, still fun to have her in there. She had that fun spot of her getting the garbage can to Io and her getting the finish too on Becky Lynch. Which, to be clear, since Becky Lynch has been contacting lawyers, personally, I don't think she tapped out. I agree with Becky Lynch. She was trying to get her team to come over and not tapping like this. It was just trying to tell her team to come and help her. She did not tap out in case Becky is contacting her lawyers. We here at the Brunch Gimmick take no position. And if anything, we believe that potentially Becky Lynch might have been. It looked like she was just beckoning her thing and didn't tap out. But yes, the match ended under the assumption that she tapped out after taking some finishers. And like all in all, I felt more or less everyone got a like time to shine. Like Lash Legend looked great. And there I felt like from the very moment just looked like an absolute powerhouse that she is. And congratulations to her and Trick, by the way, who also just got engaged over American Thanksgiving weekend, which was like huge for them. Quite happy for both of them. And somebody pointed out that the PC has a higher success rate than almost all dating shows. Like this is the second or third engagement this year. Because I know Mello also got engaged this year. It's like the second, like this, especially from that team. It's the second relationship that got engaged. Like the PC, the fact that there is no like PC dating show or like reality show is a crime. Like, yeah, that stuff could be printing money. You could just do a Total Divas in there, and it would kill. Or like even a like Jersey Shore type show, just like young hot people getting drunk and partying and hooking up, because that's pretty much what the PC is afterwards. But yeah, I felt she looked great. I felt Nia like the powerhouse she is throughout the match. I think the right team went over here. I think it was quite predictable that they're going to win. Like, I didn't think they're going to have AJ Lee lose in like one of our first few big matches back. I think she might lose one coming up against Becky. So I think Becky does need to get a win back She's like lost quite a few in a row. And I'm excited as they go into like Mania time. We're about to head to Mania time after this month. It's the road to WrestleMania starting in January. But yeah, I agree with you, Fernando, right here. The War Games match were too mid. Like, this is exactly the complaint I made before. Was this? And AEW did a good job of doing it right before the War Games match. Is they sell these War Games matches as like, this will be violence and chaos, and like this is how there's these group of people can't sell anywhere else. Like, it's literally War Games. Like, you're expecting that. Like, I'm not saying like bleed like AEW all the time. You don't have to do that, but I think this is one of those matches where blood is needed. I think you've set up the premise of like, this is an incredibly violent match, and it's just a street fight where occasionally a cage is used. And like, it's a WWE street fight with that, where it's the same 3 weapons, like garbage can, kendo stick, table, and chair. Like, it's same 4 weapons: garbage cans, kendo stick, chair, table. And like, no, like, it makes no sense. It's one of those things where, again, it sort of insults the audience's intelligence, where it doesn't make any sense that there isn't any blood, because it's this violent, chaotic match with weapons and a cage. Like, in reality, somebody would bleed in there. And it's clear that, like, they're taking stuff off it, and it does sort of like insults the intelligence, the audience's intelligence. Like, I felt that they're, especially coming off Blood and Guts, it did make WWE look a little silly, and didn't help any of their War Games matches. Like, I agree with this statement fully. But that's also what WWE is. It's the Disney-fied version of wrestling. Like that CM Punk Drew McIntyre match was sort of is the outlier and not the like trendsetter of the things. Like, it's very much, they're all going to be more or less like this. And like, it does take it, like, it takes away from it, because you kind of are expecting more. And it sucks for like the women in that match, at least the first match, especially, where you saw what AEW did and what AEW lets the wrestlers do. And like, they're like definitely holding back on their wrestlers on what they can do, because there's so much talent there, and there's so much the ability to do such cool stuff. And the fact that they're like, no, we can't anger these advertisers or whatnot, it sucks. But like, I didn't entirely hate this match. It was exactly what I was expecting out of it. I would have liked to see more, but like, it was fine for an opener. Which was quickly followed by John Cena's last ever pay-per-view match, his second to last match ever. Dom Mysterio comes out. Of course, this pay-per-view is in San Diego, Dominic's hometown, and he did come out to a huge pop, which was really nice to see. And then there was a solid like minute or two of just letting the crowd build, and then John Cena's music hit and the place exploded. And like, it's almost like I haven't been fully thinking, oh, this is gonna be. It was like so down the road, like, oh, it's gonna be in December. We've got a lot of time till John Cena's last match, but now it's really hitting me that John Cena's last match is just around the corner. It's just a few weeks away. And like, especially during his last pay-per-view match, I wish they would have done more to play it up at the end. Like, not just John Cena turning the camera being like, yep, this is it, on his like up the ramp. I would have wished they played it up a little more. But it still did get me, him like coming down the ramp, and that pop to that crowd was huge. Like, it was like the moment, like, wow, this dude has been, and especially that he is so firm, and I am retired, I'm done, I'm putting this behind me. And I think we all know, those of us who have his WWE career, and especially seen him on Total Divas, knows how stubborn John Cena can be when he's set in his ways. And when he says something, he's like, no, I'm done. And it really, like, he really seems to be 100%, this is it. this is done, and this is his last ever pay-per-view match. And I like this match. I felt this was probably my match of the night. The one, I guess, just like partly, I think a lot of it is carried by the vibes and the fact this is John Cena last month. I greatly enjoyed it. Yeah, I agree, Fernando. I felt they did a really great job here. Dom, absolutely great as a heel. Like, man, is that dude coming into his own last few years? Like, he has truly become. I didn't believe it at first. Like, I was a Dom doubter for a long time. Like, when he first came in, it was obvious like he was struggling with his character of being a babyface. And when he turned heel, I'm like, this works for him right now. There's a lot of people that are helping him on the mic and stuff. But like, I remember thinking like he can never turn babyface because like he just doesn't have like that babyface in him. But like he right now is sort of like in betweenish type deal. Still more of a heel, but like still kind of in between because he still gets those pops. And he's doing such a great job. Like, the second I knew the injury was fake, that I knew for sure the injury was fake, was when they called the medics over and it was quite clearly two wrestlers. Like, I know who the ringside doctor is. If it was real, I'm like, there was part of me like going back and forth. I'm like, oh man, they're like, this would suck so hard. John Cena's last ever pay-per-view match has to be called off because they did do like a good job of doing a botched move, being the injury thing. That was clever. And like, also like a credit to him to make himself like look bad, to get something over, because it added more realism to it that he was a botch move that led to an injury. Yeah, but like I really like that part. I think the second the two sort of medics, which were clearly wrestlers, came, I'm like, okay, this is fake. He's definitely working. And then like a second after that is when Raquel and Thing came and like she hit a hell of a Toronto bomb. Like somebody whose game has been upped recently, has undoubtedly upped their game, is Raquel. And then hitting the pop rocks, which again, like on like a smaller person, the pop rocks look cool. I'm honestly a bigger fan of the crucifix bomb to be a finisher than the Code Red. And like on Cena, it just doesn't have as much of an impact as you want for somebody hitting their finisher. But still, like it was great to see them. The fact Cena put them over too on his way out the door. And then Dom trying to steal the win there, hitting the 619, hitting the frog splash. And I fully respect the referee. And again, I like when referees aren't playing too dumb. I like the fact that they didn't let the referee just be dumb here and be legitimately angry that a wrestler was working him and trying to get like faking injury. And the fact, like, if somebody really faked an injury like that, that sets off like his whole thing is to protect the wrestlers, both in kayfabe and in reality. So like it stands to reason the referee would be pissed that he like has the responsibility of potentially calling off John Cena's last match, and B, the fact that he sort of used them and made him look stupid. And I like that he. I honestly don't think I would not have liked to see a John Cena 619. That would have not been pretty. But yeah, like the fact he was legitimately pissed off and did not count the three and threw out Raquel and Roxanne. I really enjoyed that because I like a referee not looking stupid and being rightfully pissed off at Dom. Because it makes sense that he would be like pissed like that for being used by Dom. But again, like Cena looks like he's gonna win it. The referee takes a ref bump, And then, as expected and rumored for a little bit, Liv Morgan does return, does a little bit of a twist, and like fakes everyone out by slapping Dom, and like, oh shit, is she turning on Dom? Is this happening? And then she does the John Cena to John Cena, the smile going to the frown, going the dead stare to the camera, and kicking him right between the legs, and then dropping him, hitting him with the title, and setting him up for Dom to get the 1, 2, 3 and winning back his title. Honestly, I had no problem with John Cena winning, and I felt this was going to happen the first. Like, this clearly, obviously, was not going to go past December, this title run. I like that they gave him his Grand Slam on his way out. And has this, we'll be talking about, especially after the last match, after we see who his last opponent's going to be at Saturday night's main event. Like, yeah, it could go either way. Like, he could have lost at Saturday night's main event, but I think Dom is the correct Intercontinental. I think he's doing great stuff for the Intercontinental Champion. Like, I don't think putting the Intercontinental title on Gunther, potentially putting on Gunther, if he does end up fighting, would have been the right move. Like, it would feel like a step down for Gunther at this point. That we don't know what, once again, Triple H doesn't know what to do with a bigger guy, and like puts him in the main event for a minute, for a little while, and then drops him back down to mid card and sort of forgets about him there. So like, I'm happy that it wasn't Gunther that beat him for the Intercontinental. I'm fine with Dom, because like, I think this is the perfect spot for Dom. I think he's a good Intercontinental champion. And like, he gets that moment of like beating, forever being the trivia question of who beat John Cena in his last pay-per-view match. And it is well deserved. People are comparing it, and we'll talk about it after Saturday night's main event when it's all encompassing. But up to this point, people are comparing how AEW treated Sting's last run, his retirement run, to John Cena's run. And yes, to a very real extent, the vast majority of this has been botched. They've been sort of like flying by the seat of their pants here, and like never having like concrete plans. It felt like, I felt John Cena should have been like, he was like straight up said, it's up to WWE what they want to do with my last run. And I felt he should have been more forceful with them, because they did not do a good job. They could have done better to both, like especially the first like little bit should have been the they should have been a handful of like old opponents that he faced, but he should have faced like a lot more of the younger talent on his way out. And I wish they would have gotten a few more dates out of him, so he'd be able to do that, like on Raws and stuff, where he'd be able to wrestle like Carmelo Hayes or someone of the younger stars to give him that match on his way out. And the like, it is different, and like, I'm sure John Cena has no. Yeah, that's true, but again, it wasn't his last. I think Ric Flair did a good job of earning that himself by immediately going to TNA and subsequent years after that. Like they did a great job there, but like again, he was the wrestler, the most peak wrestler of I retired and then I immediately unretire. But yeah, there'll be more to talk about after Saturday night's main event about this entire run and this entire last run. But I did like get emotional by the end, feeling like, man, this is such somebody like, a lot of these wrestlers started before when I was a kid, when I was like either too young, that has retired. Like, this is the first wrestler that retired that has getting like a retirement run that like, I was a teenager when he started. I was like, well, I was actually 12 or 13. 12, I think. I was 12 when like he got to WWE. So like, I was very much like the peak age here. And like, the fact he's been working my like entire life in the first one retiring. So like that, it does hit me like differently, this one, than other wrestlers. So like, a lot of those wrestlers started before when I was like either not born or like a child. It's the first one, like my generation's wrestler. retiring, like fully retiring. And like it is hitting me, like it's almost surreal. I'm happy he's going to be retiring in great shape. And like other wrestlers in the past where and it was important to him. And again, we'll get into it in a few weeks after his last match, but it's important to him that he was in good shape retiring, which is a rarity for wrestlers. But yes, then we had the women's title match between Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella, which was fine. Again, a lot of people weren't happy that Nikki got the title shot, but again, like they clearly wanted to put a women's title match on the card, and you have Nikki there, and all the other women were tied up in this War Games match, so you didn't really have that many people to challenge her, and like somebody that she hasn't already beaten either. So I felt this was a fine match to put Stephanie Vaquer over and like get a big win off a big name. Better than that, like it didn't do much for me. It was a fine match, and like again, I'm not a Nikki Bella. I'm not a Bella hater. They deserve some respect for a lot of what we have today, and them pushing for it and using their platform to push for it. But all in all, it was a fine match. Then we had the men's War Games match, which again, especially like I mentioned before, especially in this one, is where like the women's one as well, because the AEW women's one was so well done and thing, but like you have all these big names and like there's such a high thing for like you set up such like a blood hatred in this match between all these people and not one person bleeds. Again very Disneyfied, like things said, like it was kind of a mess by the end. Like I don't know when it's like clearly Austin Theory and you're still not revealing Austin Theory is that masked man who like cost the match. Like apparently people weren't happy that the super babyface team did not win the match, which again I was expecting them to lose that match. Honestly, I thought they were trying to also play into like everyone's egos there too, on the babyface team. They can't be a cohesive unit, especially after the babyface team won in the first War Games match. I'm like, clearly the second they're not going to do both winning. I knew then for sure that they're going to lose, and like there's a lot of stuff that like clogged it up. Like the first time in a smaller, like on a smaller Raw match, I didn't mind it. I wasn't a hater of when Jay redoes the entrance pin match. Like I thought, like okay, it's funny during this one match on Raw that he does the entrance again, but doing it on a major pay-per-view card in a like War Games match was supposed to be this violent match where there is no escape. You have to brawl your way out and through like 5 other dudes on another team, and you're taking time out to do your entrance and do your music. It just slowed down the match and like helped nothing. That was like one of those things where it insults people's intelligence. Also, like Brock showing up doing the exact same thing Brock does every time. I have no time for it. Like I don't care. I really don't. But like it is what it's like. It was like people were making the argument like this is one of the worst finishes like in recent memory of like a WWE pay-per-view, which it's so funny that I think Hernandez put up like said like he's never been to a crowd who left the crowd that angry. He's never left the show with a crowd that angry. And everyone underneath immediately like I literally checked the comments and everyone's saying actually this show, and it's all WWE shows when they left. Like I will say when I left Elimination Chamber in Montreal when Sami Zayn lost, was like the most, not necessarily anger, but palpable disappointment I've ever felt in like a wrestling crowd. Like it felt and like Sammy's talked about as well that he felt it too, but just from how high the crowd was going into that match, to the just gut punch of him watching him lose, even though we all knew he was probably going to lose. It still felt like a massive gut punch. Like Zach and Spencer were both there as well. Like they felt the same. Like it was the most like palpable disappointment. And yeah, there's a little bit of that anger in the crowd too, and annoyance. Because like everyone wanted Sammy to win. Like that place was ready to explode for a Sammy heavyweight title win. But yeah, like it definitely killed the crowd. And you're trying to set up Monday Night Raw with this hidden angle, but like it's obviously Austin Theory. I would be very surprised if it's somebody else, if it ends up being somebody else. If they literally, it'd be actually funny if they literally just had Austin Theory play the dude and then do a switch and have somebody else on Monday Night Raw be the hooded man. But yeah, like the hooded man cost CM Punk and the team the win. I think like the main standout was like when it was just CM Punk and Braun Breaker, and there was a lot of fun, and does set up that potential, that I think obvious world heavyweight title match between the two. Although they've put like in the recent months, like leading up to this, they sort of put Braun on the back burner a little bit here, and sort of like pushed him to the side. But I think going into Royal Rumble, I think they're going to heat him back up as a potential Royal Rumble winner, but also a potential a obvious challenger for that world heavyweight title. But right now, it's sort of like this current version of the Vision. There isn't a like straight up leader. Like Brock is sort of like a weird unofficial member who just shows up from time to time. So like there isn't a leader here yet. And it seems like they're going to eventually put Braun Breaker. But like I would rather see Bronson Reed be the World Heavyweight Champion than Braun Breaker. That's my personal view. Is like out of that group, I quite like Bronson Reed more than Braun Breaker. That's a little bit of a spicy take, but like not much. But yeah, like I think they're obviously going to heat him up coming up the next month. But all in all, I felt this was a like C- to a D pay-per-view. I think like WWE does live and die by the sword, by their like stern 4 or 5 match card setup. That like if the matches click, then the show's great. If the majority, like if just 2 of them suck, then it drags down the whole show. Like whereas AEW, for as many matches on the card that they have right now, almost all of them hit. Like the most complaint is, oh, this feels more like a Dynamite match, like a Dynamite main event than a thing match. But other than that, like WWE's matches, like it just at times feels like what they decide to put on the card is weird. Sometimes, and like it having less matches does put out more of a highlighting thing on the card and more pressure on the rest of the card, because it does, like a one bad match could really drown the rest of the card out when you have those shorter pay-per-views. So I think like it does, like just how sanitized the War Games match now feel really does bring down the like vibes of the entire show. And like Stephanie Becker and Nikki Bella could have been a Raw main event, honestly. I felt that didn't get on the card. I'm happy for Dom getting this big thing, but again, it was like a weird thing that one of John Cena's last pay-per-view is going to be him kicked in the dick by Liv Morgan, which also I'm happy Liv Morgan is back. And what everyone expected too is that Liv was the other person in that women's commercial, which those commercials are pretty dumb, but whatever. The fact that they right afterwards editor like put the full clip of Liv in the commercial now. As she is getting ready for this WrestleMania season to start up. As like also people did notice that, again, it could be much ado about nothing, but somebody did show that like there is no Judgment Day stuff in her Titantron anymore, which make of it what you will. Maybe she was just there for Dom, but not the Judgment Day is she's got to watch for a few months. The Judgment Day has replaced her. And like let's just say didn't really care that she was gone. So it'll be interesting to see how she fits in this new dynamic of this, once again, this extra woman in there, this like thing, and she's replacing her tag team. Like Raquel completely replaced her. So it'll be interesting on Monday. Like that, I'm interested about to see what would happen with them and that dynamic. But yeah, that was Survivor Series, and all in all, it was a really mediocre to bad show, I would say. Like their cage matches and what's set up, like again, I'm using AEW as an example because it's the other show, but really any other wrestling. But like AEW next week does have also that weight of expectations with the Tony Storm match. I think they have the same thing where they set up a death match, and like just saying a hardcore match or a street fight is one thing, and people have expected, but saying death match too has a whole level of expectation. Same thing with this War Games match. There's a level of expectation of a certain amount of violence you're going to see, and they just don't deliver in that match, and it's super disappointing. Like this is one of the more disappointing War Games matches that they've run. Like if I had to rank them, like the main roster of War Games would probably be the last place one, all in all. I think the women's was better than the men's. I feel like at least I enjoyed that one more. But yeah, all in all, a sort of disappointing pay-per-view, which is the sort of general consensus as well. Once again, that's going to do it for the show this week. I want to thank Fernando for hanging out with me, Spencer for coming in the chat for a second to say hey. We will be back next week. Also, very important, Quizplex is back in a few weeks. Tuesday, December 16th. You see in the bottom here. Actually, make sure I have everyone's name properly. Switch here. Wait, let me see. Yes, and we've got this video here. Boom. We have Playing for Toys for Tots. I'll put music up. Let me see. No. Okay, Playing for Toys for Tots, as selected by Quizplex champ Anthony Green. We have Anthony Green versus KM McKenna versus our own big bad Boris. Again, the charity is Toys for Tots this month, and it will be live Tuesday, December 16th, 10 p.m. Eastern. Another episode of Quizplex. Please join us for a great cause, and it's always a lot of fun. We highly appreciate it if you come out, check it out, and donate. What up, Pluggo? I'm assuming your Irish won last night. I fell asleep. I was asleep. I didn't check this morning. I'm assuming Notre Dame won last night. I honestly don't think so. I don't think Karrion Kross is I think he's out of the company right now. And he's making more money now working on the independents. So there's that. 35 male and from Montreal. You can hit me in the DMs. Yeah, like literally, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I was literally checking my phone right before I was about to go live, and just every college football coach is accepting a new job, and Lane Kiffin is hiding in his office because I literally don't think he wants to make a decision, and it's super weird. I don't know if he made a decision in the hour I've been off air or I've been on air because I didn't check. But like it looks that old Miss room looks so messy right now. Ironically, Old Miss looks old messy. So hopefully he has decided one way or another if he's going to LSU or not. But yeah, like 3 or 4 coaches changed within like the last hour, took new jobs. But yeah, it is a wild mess, especially as the playoff rankings drop tomorrow, which I hope for your sake that your Notre Dame Fighting Irish make it. Oh, always. Lane Kiffin always in the headlines. Well, like his daughter is dating the star player from LSU too as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for our show. We'll be back next week at 12 p.m. again, back to our regular time and usual time. Reviewing the week in wrestling. We'll probably be talking more about the C2 and AEW this week as that unfolds more. There was a couple bangers there. Both Speedball had a great match against Pac. The Darby Allin Kevin Knight match was great as well. Yeah, it's because it's a different thing. Coaching in the NFL and college is completely different. Like it is very hard for a college coach to go straight from college to the NFL. Because a lot of them treat what are grown men and like the same college kids they just did, and just from a perspective there, they don't like it's because it just doesn't work out as well. Like same thing happened with the Philadelphia Eagles when they hired that dumb dipshit that tanked my team, which is why am I blanking on his name? What's his face from? Why am I blanking on his name? He was also just a coach, just the offensive coordinator on the Raiders, and they just fired him as well. But yeah, it just sometimes a lot of the times it doesn't work with a college coach going straight from college to the pros because it's a different atmosphere. The game's a lot different, and like the personalities are a lot different, and you can't like treat those players like the same kids you did, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds that you're just coaching. When you're talking like 25, 26, 30-year-old, 35-year-old sometimes. They're still in the league who are veterans of this. And you treat them like replaceable too. But yeah, that is our show. I'll see you next week. Be sure to check out Quizplex coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, and I thank everyone for coming to hang out. We will see you back here at the same time, same place next week. Hope to see you here. Bye and stream.